during the breakout talkback Q&A. So, I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Lion Tales, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Dr. Lynnda Nadien, along with Aurora Workman, and our guest today is ourselves. And we decided that we would just tell you a little bit more about each other and ask each other some questions so that you can become familiar with what we're doing with our show Lion Tales and how important we feel it is for the Nassau Community College community overall. So we're back.
Yes, and so we're going to find out from Lynnda. So you went here thinking that you were going to be a computer.
Yes.
Is it a computer nerd?
I don't even know what it was, but it was very rustic and key punch and all those old-fashioned types of computer science classes. And I mean, I did learn, that's for sure. You know, I definitely did, but it was not at my interest level at all.
That was one of the things when I came here. I took liberal arts, but I was Afro-American studies major. But my major was literature, was English, because I wanted to be an English teacher, which I did go on to become an English teacher. I taught English literature to 10th grade AP. But it was great to sit there and just everything that I got, I didn't know which. All of a sudden, I wanted to do more. It's like, okay, of course I want to be a writer because that's what I came here to do. But now I want to be an English literature teacher. And of all things that my African studies teachers said, what are you going to teach in English literature? I said, Faulkner and Shakespeare. He's like, Faulkner. I said, yes, Faulkner. I said, because, you know, there's some signs that we have to, like Wuthering Heights and things that, you know, their lifestyles are really not depicted, or when people read them, I'm like, do you see that misogynistic person in this story? So they didn't really deal with it as such. And so I did. I saw it as a view of America that I had not seen. And between Faulkner and Hemingway and Shakespeare, they always gave us a view that introduced us to people who were unlike ourselves, but who were new. And that's the way my faculty that I had at the time taught it. So it was always interesting.
Yeah. We had, for English 102, it was Professor Brenna Levirez, a female. She was great and very eclectic, and, you know, she really did want us to learn. I don't remember what we were reading as much as maybe what we were writing about. And in English 101, it was a male professor, and he just kept saying to me, stop writing about the Beatles. But I kept thinking, but what else? Who else am I going to write about? Mozart, somebody else. I had to choose someone else, but he didn't tell me who to choose, but he did encourage me to start branching out a little bit. And every response to the essays was not definitely about the Beatles, even though it applied, but that was what I loved, so that's what I just kept writing about.
Right, and that's what Professor Jenkins, he at the time was here, and he told me, I'm like, everybody's bringing in people that they can write about in the African-American world, and he's challenged me. He says, well, I challenge you to read, and he gave me Absalom by William Faulkner. Oh, my God. First of all, I'm thinking, should I be reading this? I'm a little young for this. But the stories were so real, so barbaric and colorful, and it was just everything. And then it actually gave me a view, like I said, that I was not familiar with in the Americas as we see them. So instead of, I also did my James Baldwin studies there, but I was introduced to these new form of writings in Hemingway's. You know, I'd never been up a mountain until I was up a mountain with Ernest Hemingway.
That's true, yeah. And it's something that when you get to explore all these different authors and, you know, we always say, oh, The Great Gatsby. Well, he's great, but there's so much more to, you know, what you're reading, and there's so much of it
Yeah, and they would take you around the world. I remember, I'm like telling Dad, I want to run with the bulls. I want to run with the bulls.
Yeah, and then a lot of these things are not out of reach. That the quality of the reading and the literature opens it up to the rest of your life, and you can say, I can actually go and visit these places, and they have tours now to let you know.
I know,
the book tour or whatever it comes out, and you can retrace the steps of. Some of those characters.
Yeah. And that's one of the great things that, the faculty here, they really, I wasn't there. My mom said, just do one semester, then see if you want to leave and go to California or whatever. And I did a semester, and I was all set. And then I remember Professor Jenkins says, why don't you come to school during the day? There's students, you're closer to your age, and you'll enjoy a lot of college things that are going on. No, like I'm saying, look, I gotta go. I have a house to take care of.
I know. I think I had 9:45 class. The first class, and then there was a break.
Yeah,
and the break, then you'd be at the Fixin's Bar at Roy Rogers, and then after that, I would have another class. I probably had maybe like a 6 o'clock class at one point, but I loved the sociology class with Professor Wise.
Yes, that was that. And that's one of the classes that are thriving today. I kind of sat in like 2 or 3 years ago, and the students were just hanging on, and contributing and participating in that class. And I sat there and I looked at him. I said, well, he still got it.
Yeah, he's got it. And then I had Professor Siegel was psychology, and that was another.
He's still here.
And I had Dr. Hittleman, who did human sexuality in the tower.
Yes.
Oh, and that was all about human sexuality, but in a way where you didn't have to feel embarrassed or
carry your textbook in a brown paper bag.
Or put off, yeah.
He taught it very, very well. And I like that about when people do come here to Nassau, and we're going to talk more about it. You're listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Aurora Workman, and I'm here with my fabulous co-host, Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and we're telling you something about ourselves today and about the program and about our memories of Nassau Community College. So we want you to continue to stay tuned and travel with us back to where we remember the days where there were no
back in time.
Back in time.
Let's go back.
And my sister sits there and she drives on campus and she sits there and says, "What is that?" And I said, "That's the G building." And she goes, "No, I took class in a hangar."
Yeah, because the overpass that's connected, those were not there.
Right.
The library was a standalone. It was just the library.
Yeah.
So, and that part of the parking lot, which is all redone, was just kind of gravel.
Right. It was. I had to park so far in the dark in the back when I was attending school here.
And we didn't have no backpack. I'd be carrying all my books by myself. There was no backpack. There was no water bottles.
No rolling wheel thing.
There was no wheelies. There's no Starbucks. I used to have my Walkman with my cassette player. And I hooked that on. I don't even know if I had a hook on. I think I held it in my hand. And I had a Beatles bootleg called Beatles Not For Sale. And that was my tape that was in there.
That's your walking tape.
Yeah, that was my walking tape. And we would just walk everywhere. And I never thought about... I don't think I was drinking any water either. No, nothing.
I mean, it's amazing about that time. Because if you look at the campus now...
Oh, it's just...
It's beautiful. I mean, they're doing construction right
the construction's
now.
going to be great though when it's done.
The back is lit. I mean, I would have to go from the Bradley Hall all the way to past where G is because there was no parking in between there.
No, we would park way out in that. In that,
there was a field
lot.
behind it. The building wasn't back there.
That's true.
Those houses that they have weren't back there. So you were in the woods.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was always fun. I always thought walking across the big field and there were no lights. I was like,
and then we asked some of the guests some of these questions, but I kept looking at them. I said, I hope I can answer these. So what are Nassau Community College's school colors? We know blue and orange. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What is the mascot and his name?
Leo the Lion.
Yeah. What two towns is Nassau Community College in?
Garden City and Uniondale.
Woohoo!
You don't know, it's Uniondale.
Uniondale. East Garden City.
That's right. They tried.
Yeah, they tried, but no cigar on that one. Name one building on campus and the subjects taught there. I mean, I think I could say, well, Building H has music, African studies, and I think English
communications.
And communications. Oh, and I had an oral communications class. That was very good.
Right. And that was in Bradley Hall. Bradley Hall is all English. I think they don't share. Do they share? No. Well, they have one of the largest departments. But Bradley Hall, I remember I used to kind of hang out there, and that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
you know,
I did like that too.
Yeah.
Name a landmark surrounding Nassau Community College.
Nassau
Coliseum, yeah. And now, if you go up, you have Papa John's, you have Starbucks across the street.
Yeah. You know what's a landmark that people don't know? But the Guns and Ammo place has been here since I was in Catholic school.
Right, and I mean, I guess Cradle of Aviation, a real landmark.
Yeah,
Starbucks is not a landmark, but Popeyes is not a landmark. And then name 3 student clubs.
Okay, well, I was in Haraya, which is the Black Student Union. I was in the Human Rights Club with Professor Marquita James, and I was in NYPIRG.
Oh, and I had bowling, and that they took us to Garden City Bowl.
It's right behind.
It was so great, and I mean, bowling is an art form. This guy taught us how to bowl. I didn't know. You think you just stand there and you throw the ball, but it's really not that. So I learned. I remember I bowled a 157. I was like, yeah.
And then way back then, I grew up across the street from a bowling alley. It was Planders Lane and a golf course. It was a miniature golf and driving course. So people used to ask, how do you guys learn to drive? I said, well, we lived across the street from a golf course and a bowling alley. So 2 things we do well, strike.
And one of these questions, too, why would we recommend Nassau Community College to other people? That's something that we can answer probably, too.
Yes, we can definitely answer that. Well, for me, I mean, Nassau, again, I didn't want to stay in New York. I wanted to leave. And my mother just gave me, she says, stay one. She says, and I'll pay for it. Because she didn't pay for my college, but she goes, I'll pay for it. And it gave you a start, and it opened up your eyes to other things that were going on around the world. Because instead of bringing me out of my community into a community of campus where people came from every communities that we were, North Hills, Westbury, communities that we did not really interact with growing up, they were here at Nassau, and I met a lot of good friends.
Yeah, and I think I was very young. I was only 17 when I started here, and I just didn't know what to expect from college life in general, and it was not really brought to my attention that I could go in that route. I mean, I did. My parents didn't stop me from doing it.
Right.
I guess they were excited for me to do that, and but I definitely was sort of not fully prepared in terms of coming up here. But it turned out to be just a great experience for me.
And the same for me. So I hope you guys, our listening audience, enjoyed our conversation today with my fabulous guest, Dr. Lynnda Nadien.
Yes, and our fabulous guest, Aurora Workman.
And we'd like to sit there and tell you that we are proud alumni of Nassau Community College, and thank you for listening.
And we want to thank you for being with us. Along with Aurora and I, we say thank you to our president of the Nassau Community College Alumni Association, and the creative director of Lion Tales is Rudy J. Breedy. This show is a production of the Nassau Community College Alumni Association. Visit ncc.edu/WHPC for more information. Available as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. Lion Tales is powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation on the voice of Nassau Community College. 90.3 WHPC. We'll talk to you next week.